I'm Llivstra. Today I will finally finish creating my VTuber. Well, maybe finish is a bit optimistic, considering there is still a ton of work left to do. Anyway, in the last video I came up with a concept for this VTuber, drew it, and carefully separated it into different layers. So it's completely ready for rigging. And this is where things get really exciting. Rigging is the most challenging part of the process, but also the most rewarding, because we're about to bring this character to life. She is going to blink, smile, move and truly become herself with a unique style that reflects her personality. I also want to remind you that it's not a tutorial, it was made only for entertainment purpose. So grab a snack, get comfy, and let's start this long and slightly chaotic journey. Well, first things first, we're opening our file in Live2D, the magical place where all the rigging happens. Live2D is a program that makes 2D drawing smooth. The main idea is to set key points for different positions or shapes. These key points are connected to parameters which control the movement. The program then smoothly transitions between the key points. Once the model is fully rigged, it's ready to track your movements and bring them to the screen in real time. We will start with the easiest part, head tilts. I create a rotation deformer and link the head tilts to the angle Z parameter. Easy peasy, right? Oh, and I also deform the neck a bit, so it follows the head's movement, because we don't want her looking like a broken doll. Congratulations, we have just mastered level easy. Next, I'm going to make her blink. The idea is simple. Deform the top eyelid to look closed and adjust all the related layers, like the small eyelashes, eyeball and both eyelids. Now she can blink. After that, I will make her smile by selecting all the layers, tweaking their shapes and linking the new position to the smile right eye parameter. Oh, and don't forget to fix the closed eye smile. Now onto the eyeball. I will set her up to look left, right, up and down. She reminds me of a god here. Try not to focus on it, it's okay. Once the corners are synchronized, she will be able to look diagonally too. To make it more realistic, I create a new deformer for the eye skin and adjust the eyelids to follow the eyeball's movement. I also add a shocked eye by expanding the open eye parameter. Some people prefer to stay with physics for the end, but I like to add it as I go. And now you will see why physics is a total game changer. Using the squish and squash rule, I add some jiggle to her iris and other details, adjusting opacity for glares at each key point. Finally, we head to the physics window. It's pretty straightforward once you get the concept. We have input settings that control trackable parameters like blinking. Output settings link those inputs to parameters, like jiggle or bounce of your iris. After that, you can fine-tune everything in the physics menu to get the perfect look. I also add some physics for small eyelashes, and voila, her eye looks much more interesting than without physics. I also rig her brows on parameters. One controls the up and down movement, and the other gives her sad or angry expressions. Now here comes the most satisfying part. We delete the other eye and just duplicate the eye we worked on and flip it. Then I switch all the linked parameters from the right eye to the left, and we're done with the eyes. It looks so adorable. The next part nearly killed me. I spent 3 days on it. It's head movements. Yay! Okay, usually this isn't as hard as the other parts. But because I decided to draw a pretty realistic model with a nose and lips that are more than just tiny lines, it became 10 times harder. If I had just made little lines, this would have been so much easier. But we will make it through, hopefully. I start with the head's X rotation. It's super important to use references here. You can draw them yourself, especially for your model, or if you're lazy like me, just find an artwork that matches your model's features and try to align the face parts. I start with rough positions just to get an idea how it will look. And let's be honest, It looks terrible at first, but it's okay. That's part of the process. Yeah, that's exactly the place that I'm talking about. It looks bad. I fixed it a million times and it still wasn't right. Also, I made Y head tilts and synchronized corners. And after 3 days of struggles, I made it. I didn't even record it, I just tried not to die from frustration. Also, here's the nose line I mentioned in the last video. I had high hopes for it, but I decided to scrap it, because the head tilts aren't as dramatic as I thought. It's a little moment of me wondering if the nose to blame for this shame or not. Well, the next part is briefing. The most easiest part too. I just create a deformer for all the body parts and with a few tiny tweaks expand her ribcage and now she can breathe. Okay, the muff now. Muff rigging is a pretty long process. Firstly, I remesh lips to deform them more accurately, but later I edit lips layers, divide lip lines and lips, because when I deform them, they look weird in some places, so separating them and rigging each is the best solution to this. So now we need to deform them. I set up 2 parameters, and for each key point I need to make unique muff form. Muff form is responsible for sad, neutral and happy expressions, and muff open parameter is responsible for, guess what? Muff rigging is also a good way to make your character unique. I also make bottom teeth move as the mouth opens and closes. After that, I edit them to look realistic when the head rotates. Now we're going to VTUBER. VTUBER is a program that makes your Live 2D model look more alive. It adds extra details like cheek puffing, jaw motion and small facial details. It works with advanced tracking on iPhones with Face ID, so your character reacts more naturally. I ran a quick test to make sure everything works smoothly. Well, the next part is hair. For some reason, I either forgot to record my process, or those files decided to vanish into the void. Anyway, I will just explain that I did. Live 2D has this very useful feature called skinning for long hair strands. It makes their movements super realistic and way more satisfying than adding a bunch of key points manually. So I used this method for most of her hair, except the strands near her face. For those, I stuck with regular key points rigging. And look at this, it's so smooth. She's slowly coming to life, little by little, and getting her own unique personality. Well, now it's time for the torso. You're probably already guessed the concept. I create a new deformer and make it look like she's turning. This is linked to the body X parameter. I also gave her breast a little rotation too, and that's it for body X. For body Y, I added leaning effect, like she's bending forward and straightening her back. Now onto the small shiny details, jewelry, bows and so on. I created separate parameters for each type of details and added physics to make them move realistically. Look at these chains on her ears, aren't they satisfying to watch? I love it. I was planning to make her ears twitch. Remember I mentioned that in the last video. But when it hit me, she's a human, not an animal. People don't randomly twitch their ears, no matter how fun it sounds in my head. I even imagined it and yeah, it's a bit weird. So I decided to keep it simple and just add a subtle incline, then she tilts her head to the side. Much more human, right? Alright, let's talk about physics, specifically her chest. I'm not a fan of gravity-defying hypertrophied madness, so just a gentle jiggle does the trick, classy and simple. Now we're on the finish line, glowing. For her sleeves, I went back to the basics with key points and physics. But when we have got this flying cloth thing. I have no idea what to call it. For this part I used animation. The idea is to set basic keyforms and let their values change over time. This way the cloth does its own thing, it's not tied to the model's movements. Well, we are finally done. Honestly, I lost track of how much time I spent on this model, probably about 1 or 2 months, including breaks. It was hard, it was time consuming, but now I have this lovely elf VTuber and I couldn't be happier. Now when I have finally made it, learning all aspects and practice a lot with different models of VTubers, I will be happy to take your commission VTuber requests if you like what you saw and if you are interested in it. I would love to ask for your support in growing my little community. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. It really means the world to me and keeps me motivated to create more content for you. Also, feel free to follow my Instagram, that's where I post my artworks, share updates about my projects and talk about my plans. Plus, I accept commission requests there, so if you're interested, you know where to find me. All the links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you in my next videos. Or maybe check out some of my previous ones in the meantime. See you soon!
Like that.